Here's Jack Musa on the breakaway, looking for two, he's got it! Jack Musa across to O'Hara, he scores! That's a program record for point streak!
Here's Donglish Mills on the doorstep, they score!
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 10 of the UMass Hockey Preview Show presented by UMass Journalism. Along with Jacob Repper, I am John Ruggiero.
For our final show this semester, we'll break down the game versus Army and preview two away games versus Northeastern at Matthews Arena for the final time ever for UMass.
Just one game last week for the Minutemen, Jacob. It took place in West Point, New York versus a 3-win Army team. UMass looked to get back on the right track after a split against Providence, another split that is, but unfortunately for UMass, they did lose this one 5-4. Michael Rabel, his first game back, let in 5 goals on 14 shots. Jacob, didn't seem like he was ready in this one.
No, it certainly did not. And Coach Carvel even said that, John. He said he wasn't ready to play. He put him in, and that's on me. That's what Coach Carvel said. Michael Rabel just doesn't have his full game coming off the injury. Jackson Irving, he played 6 games before this, so obvious that Michael Rabel just didn't have it. And the Minutemen, however, they brought the offense. You got to give them credit. 38 shots on goal, 55% on the faceoff dot, 2 for 3 on the power play. Nestrasil getting 2. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. But the stats are there for the Minutemen. They had a really strong third period, but unfortunately, the slippery goaltending in the beginning for the Minutemen was enough for them to lose to Army in that game on the road.
Obviously not ideal, Jacob, losing to an Atlantic hockey opponent. But we are going to take a look at one of the few bright spots from this loss on the big board here. Vaslav Nestrasil being that bright spot. He scored his first 2 goals in 8 games, dating back to the first game of the Cornell series on October 31st. So let's take a look at these 2 goals as we roll the clip here on the big board. We're going to stop it right there, right away. Daniel Jensko here on the power play for UMass. A great lane to Nestrasil right here. That's what UMass does best on the power play, finding those passing lanes. Obviously, have the 2 guys back here. Army not really worried about them, so they really should be in this passing lane. They have a stick right there, but it's not going to work out for the Black Knights as Jensko feeds it right through and gets the goal for Nestrasil. So let's take a look at his second goal with Jacob Repper.
When you're hot, and Vaslav Nestrasil continuing to build off his good performance in this game. Second period, UMass down 1 against Army. 2 minutes left, trying to build that momentum into the third period to start a comeback. And the guy to do that is Jack Musa. He has the puck right here. You're going to see him. He's going to charge right through this neutral zone, and he's going to do a couple great things. This is going to be one of the best goals you'll see all year from the Minutemen as we roll the tape. Musa gets the puck. Quick speed. Look at this. Pause it right there. Makes a defender miss right here. And now look at Musa. 1-on-4. He's curled up in a ball. Got nowhere to go, or so it seems. And then he's going to make a great pass right here up top to the point. We'll roll the tip, and the Minutemen go tic-tac-toe. Pause it right there. And you see this triangle, if we could back it up just a hair. Minutemen, we've talked about that a lot this year. That beautiful triangle. Pause it right there. Perfect. Look at this. This is gorgeous from UMass. Nestrasil is going to get it to his counterpart in the freshman, Jack Galanik. Galanik's going to get it back to him, and Vaslav Nestrasil scores his second goal of the game, top 5 among freshmen in points. A good thing for the Minutemen that he is getting hot, but unfortunately, again, UMass losing a big game that they probably should be winning.
Yeah, Jacob, can't put that strongly enough. Obviously not ideal for UMass, and because of that, we're going to take a look at the poll, which UMass falls out of for the first time this season. They are receiving votes, but out of the top 20. And you see the records there for the fellow hockey teams, which, by the way, are also struggling. But UMass struggling even more.
That's for sure, John. This Hockey East season so far has been very turbulent. Coach Carvel's even called it a gauntlet. He has had to play 6 ranked games to start this season. And, of course, it hasn't gone sensationally well for them, but other Hockey East teams as well. You look at Maine there, they're leading the pack, but Northeastern, Providence, Boston University, all curled up outside that top 10. We'll talk about now NPI rankings because that's a lot different from the USCHO poll. Is that right, John?
Yeah, it sure is, Jacob. That obviously sets the tournament for the NCAA. It replaces the old pairwise system that was used in years past. But guess where UMass is in that ranking? 44th, Jacob.
And you mentioned the pairwise. A lot of things go into the NPI. Most of it is home and away games and ranked and non-ranked matchups. The Minutemen, they've lost a couple big ranked matchups on home ice. That does a lot of damage for where you stand in the NPI rankings. However, if you can go on the road, get a victory against a ranked opponent, that can do some really good things. We'll talk about that in just a little bit before Coach Carvel's comments earlier this week.
And let's take a look at those right now, obviously, from media. We're going to start up top with a cage fight. Obviously, Michael Raubel off his game just a little bit, so Jackson Irving had to step up again against Army, so it's yet to be seen who's going to start this weekend. Justin Kerr, he will be out of the lineup with an injury, not ideal for the third-line centerman, and then Musa and Van Tassel will play together this weekend. Jacob, what are you going to look to see from those guys?
Hope to see offense, right? That's what you expect out of those two. The big Nick Van Tassel, the hassle. Jack Musa, top 10 in the nation among points. Two great players going at it. Coach Carvel trying to find some symmetry. John, we're almost halfway through the season. You don't see that a lot out of Coach Carvel mixing up the lines, but a guy that bumps into the lines is Cam Dunn. Well done for Cam Dunn, getting into that bottom six. Said he's contributed a lot in practice. And then a couple Europeans and Americans combining, trying to find some symmetry, trying to find some offense. Coach Carvel called them the best analytical line so far for the Minutemen.
Yeah, Jacob, and Jensko has looked great with those two guys. Obviously saw the power play goal that we showed you earlier. And then the last point, Matthew Wild looking to get back into lineup. Coach Carvel says he wouldn't be surprised if Matthew Wild sees a resurgence coming into the latter half of this season. But now we're going to transition into this Northeastern series. The final two games of the semester for UMass. They take on the number 12 ranked team. Obviously, Northeastern coming into this one 9-4, and that's huge for the Huskies. They have a couple of ranked wins under their belt. They beat a number 7 Denver team, a number 11 Boston College team, and obviously they beat UMass back in October 4-2, the final in that one. So, Jacob, what makes this Northeastern team so dangerous?
John, it has to be the depth and the defense. We talked about this a few weeks ago when they played. Nobody exactly expected the Northeastern to come in and shock the world, and they've done just that, mostly because of their defense and their goaltender, Lawton Zacher, 7-3 on the season, 1.80 goals against average, a .943 save percentage. That is just unreal. But John, get this. He's missed the past 3 games. Quinton Sergertson has stepped in. He's gone 2-1 in that time. So a chance for UMass to exploit a goaltending question mark, but their defenders are just superb. And the offense is led by Dylan Ritzkovian, who's just been sensational. 16 points on the season, 5 points in his past 2 games. UMass has to try to lock him down defensively.
They sure do, Jacob. But in terms of defense for Northeastern, a bright spot for them is defenseman Vinny Borghese.
This guy is unreal, John. I told you about him coming into this season. Vinny Borghese, 10 points in 13 games, a +8 rating. And then look at those 2 bullet points, John, right there. I'll let you take this because those are just unreal numbers.
30 block shots leads the team, and 27 minutes of ice time per game leads the nation. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of Vinny Borghese, potentially for 60 full minutes this weekend. You talk about close to 30 minutes of ice time per game. That's half of a college hockey game.
John, I'd go on to say he's probably a top 5 defender in all of college hockey. Maybe not a lot of people knew about him outside the Hockey East, but he is gritty. He is hard to play against. We saw it firsthand a few weeks ago. This guy is a guy, John, well, he just named the Spangler Cup a few weeks ago. He's a really bright player on this Northeastern team.
He sure is, Jacob. Look out for him and look out for the Huskies this weekend. It all takes place Saturday and Sunday in Boston. One of the final times in Matthews Arena for the Huskies. Well, folks, that concludes the final episode of the semester for us. We've had an absolute blast with this. We want to thank you all for watching. And, of course, we want to shout out our great producer, Greeley Kyle, our director, Nick Labani, Steve Fox, Rodrigo Zamuth, Jacob. A bunch of other people have helped us along the way here.
That's for sure. You can't forget about our teleprompter operator, Dylan Shalom, floor director, Andrew Samaha, camera operator, Jonathan Charlier, and production assistants, James Bissell and Miles Donato, among many others, to contribute to this great show. We'll be back in the new year. And with that said, John, I hope you enjoyed Christmas. I hope you rest, get ready to go, and we'll be back on the UMass Hockey Preview Show.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you then.